Now, there was another situation yesterday in New York City. There was Easter Mass in St. Patrick's Cathedral, a big day there. The cardinal said the Mass, and it was invaded by pro-Hamas demonstrators who went right into the church and interrupted the service. All right? Right in there, screaming and yelling their pro-Hamas stuff. This is New York City. 3 arrests. Matthew Menzies, 31, John Rosendahl, Gregory Schwedak. Okay, all 3 of them are radical leftists. Do you get a theme here? You see the theme? Excuse me. Get the theme? All right, now they're way beyond progressives. These people are communists and socialists. That's who's behind the pro-Hamas demonstrations. They don't believe in God. They don't, this is just a stunt. So they were arrested, these 3. And there were others that weren't arrested. Nothing will happen to them. Charged with misdemeanors. Nothing. They won't be prosecuted. Just like the cop killer, 19 times wasn't prosecuted. 19. New York. Joining us now from Seaford, New York, which is an adjacent suburb to Massapequa, former Congressman Peter King. He served 14 terms in the House of Representatives, and he's a good man. I sat with Congressman King and his wife at the funeral. All right, Congressman, I'll let you go. I mean, am I saying anything that's wrong or out of context or anything like that?
No, the only possible disagreement I would have with you is the chance of converting people like Letitia James. I've been at a number of police funerals with her. I don't see it having any impact on her whatsoever. I don't think she should be treated rudely. I would prefer she not show up. But that's the only disagreement I would have, is I'm not certain that there's powers of conversion would work on Letitia James.
All right. Now, why do you think the Attorney General of New York will not enforce the law or protect innocent people? Why?
It's something I try to figure out over the years. I think people from the progressive left somehow feel that their understanding of the law or their comprehension of what the law should be supersedes everything else. I mean, you take a person like Alvin Bragg, he even has more direct jurisdiction, or the district attorneys have more jurisdiction even than the attorney general. And they just refuse to, for instance, on things like shoplifting and fare beating, Alvin Bragg just won't even prosecute them, won't even entertain those cases. And then it works its way up. It creates a mood. It's a feeling that certain people, primarily the African-American community, has been discriminated against over the years, and therefore they're entitled to an extra advantage, if you will, that the law shouldn't be enforced strictly against them. I think that's a form of bias, not just against the white community, but against the black community itself. But it's, Bill, I can't, nothing in my upbringing, people I grew up with, could act this way or could think this way, that you should somehow allow certain classes of people to violate the law, not realizing that in doing that, it encourages more breaking of the law, and that's going to cause innocent people to suffer. And in most cases, now in this case, it was a white police officer, but most of these cases where the violence comes out, it's against other African Americans and minorities carried out by their own.
The poor community takes it the worst. So you believe it's racial politics, both Alvin Bragg, the DA of Manhattan, and the Attorney General, Letitia James, are black. Kathy Hochul, the governor, is white. Kathy Hochul has the power of executive order, could overturn a lot of this bail stuff herself, that the progressives in Albany, and it's shocking that people in Buffalo and Rochester and places outside of New York City vote these progressive people in, but it's a veto-proof legislature now. There are so many progressives in Albany that they want not to punish criminals, but Hochul has some power to do something, yet does nothing. What do you think of her?
That is harder for me to figure out. I was telling people, including John Catsimatidis, when I'm on his show, when Kathy Hochul was about to come in, that she was going to be a mainstream, moderate governor. When I was chairman of the Homeland Security Committee in Congress, and she was in Congress about a year and a half, she was assigned to my committee. Her husband was a leading prosecutor of terrorists upstate New York. She was a very normal person to deal with. She was not involved at all with the radical left wing of a party down there. She actually had an A+ rating, an A rating from the NRA. but on any number of issues, she was definitely mainstream. And yet, when she went to Albany or became the governor, as lieutenant governor, she didn't really have much to say. When she became governor, she went further to the left than Andrew Cuomo. Whether or not she wasn't ready for the job, whether she was overtaken by it, whether the people around her were that way, but it's no excuse. I mean, listen, you've never been in an elective office. If you became the governor tomorrow, you wouldn't go racing over to the left. So, I mean, she had experience in a local government, experience in Washington, and she was, I guess, lieutenant governor for 5 years. She should have had some idea what to do, but instead, she's gone so far to the left, and not just the policies, but the whole tone is so far to the left. Like her, not just her position on abortion, but how much she expresses it with such vehemence, with such a left-wing bias.
Everything is expensive these days, you know that. The government is printing trillions of dollars and consumer prices higher than ever. If the government continues its printing and spending, the dollar could continue its free fall and lose its coveted role as the world reserve currency. Let's hope that doesn't happen. But there are a few things you can do right now. American Hartford Gold can show you how to protect your money, your retirement, your hard-earned savings against inflation by helping you diversify a portion of your portfolio into physical gold and silver. Start with a short phone call, and they can have physical gold and silver delivered right to your door or put inside your 401k or IRA. So please call or text them right now. Tell them Bill O'Reilly sent you. Call 877-444-GOLD, 877-444-GOLD, or text GOLD to 65532. Again, that's 877-444-GOLD, or text GOLD to 65532. Thank you for watching the No Spin News. To watch the full episode anytime on BillO'Reilly.com, please sign up to become a premium or concierge member. Visit BillO'Reilly.com to sign up and start watching today.